Subscribers, Nazreen, and a very warm welcome. Nazreen, today's program is going to be interesting, informative, and unique. Unique in the sense that my guest today is an animal communicator, an animal Reiki healer, she's an animal whisperer, and she is a pet psychic. She can communicate with your feather friends, your furry friends, your four-legged companions, using her telepathic abilities. If you want to know what your pet is thinking about you and what is their opinion about you, she can be a translator, give your pet a voice. Nazreen, you will be amazed at what they have to tell about their masters. Without further ado, let's embark on a mystical journey with Sister Fatema Zahra, all the way from Dubai. Salam alaikum, Fatema Zahra.
Alaikum salam. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. I'm so excited and happy to have you on my show. I know you are a very, very busy lady indeed, healing all the camels and horses and dogs and cats and feather friends like tota, parrots, pigeons, and what have you. So I think this is the first time we are having somebody with a unique program. Alhamdulillah. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Inshallah. And I would be requesting the viewers that it won't be possible to receive the live calls. All you can do is send us a voice note on the studio number, which will be displaying, and then I can forward it to my guest. Okay, let's start. Fatma, when did you realize you have a gift of communication with the animals?
Okay, so Bismillah Rahman Rahim. So first of all, to be very honest, I had no idea what animal communication was or animal healing, not an inkling of what it was. However, 4 years ago, after I graduated from biotechnology in Canada, I came over here to Dubai and I was working with equine therapy, which means I was working with horses as well as children of determination. And it so happened that one day, after 2 years of working there, what happened was I had a severely autistic child on one of the horses that I was leading, and he really desperately wanted to get off the horse, but seeing as how he could not speak or communicate, he proceeded to begin hitting the horse. Now at that time, my main concern was for the boy's safety. And because he was hitting the horse so much and so vehemently, I was worried that the horse would rear up and throw the child off. And so immediately I sent out what could be said like a prayer, where I told the horse, please don't rear up. I'm really worried. I'm really scared for this child. And that is when I heard the horse's voice in my head. And I heard him say, don't worry about it. I know this child's energy is unstable and I will not rear up. And at that time, I turned around because I looked around wondering if anyone else had heard it, and no one else had. In fact, the person who I asked nearby thought I was absolutely crazy for even mentioning it. But then I childishly asked the horse, okay, so do you promise? And he says, yes, I promise. And true to his word, the horse did not twitch a muscle. And horses generally twitch. Always, every second, but not one muscle twitched. I don't know how he did it, but the child got off safely. And as the horse was leaving back to go to the stable, he turned around and he told me, you see, I kept my word. And that's when I realized I could communicate with animals. And from then on, I spent each and every single second speaking to every single horse in the stable. And my stable manager hated it because I was always with the horses and never with the children, but I was still there 24/7. And that's how I learned how I could communicate. And then I came home and I told him, came home and I told my parents for the first time, and I told my mom, you know what, I actually found out I could communicate with animals because of the experience with this horse. And my mom didn't doubt it for a second. She told me, Fatima, you have always been asking me what your purpose is in life, and you've always loved animals since you were a child, and this is your calling. I think this is your true purpose, to help animals and people and give them a voice. And that's how my mission statement started were giving animals a voice. It was through her.
Wow. So in 4 years, how many and which animals have you so far communicated with? And any
Wow.
difficult case that you could mention or share with my viewers?
Of course. So, when it comes to how many animals, I would say it's around 1,000 animals, I would say. And I've spoken to many animals. I've spoken to the normal cats, dogs, horses, cockroaches. I've spoken to lionesses, peacocks, snakes, as well as elephants, monkeys, sharks.
Did you say cockroaches? Did you say cockroaches?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, I speak to cockroaches as well. I'm the personal exterminator in my house. Any fly that's bugging anyone in the family, I basically allow them to come and sit on my hand, and then I take them outside very slowly, and they listen to me so that no one has to swat them away.
Oh my God. I know because Prophet Suleiman used to hear the ants. He could understand their language.
You're right. Not Prophet Suleiman. You're right.
Yeah.
Not only Prophet Suleiman, but Imam Ali alayhi salam also with the snake, Imam Radha alayhi salam with the deer as well, and Prophet Yaqub with the wolf. So there are many instances where prophets and imams have spoken to the animals as well.
Okay. So, I mean, it was only when you were 18 that you realized that you have got a gift to communicate. I mean, your telepathic abilities, you never discovered before that. It was your mom who said, yes, you had always been asking about pets and animals and all. Yeah? Oh, wow. Okay. Now, there are certain questions that I've got here. I'm sure there are many people who must be thinking about it, that is this something allowed in Islam?
Okay, so in order for me to answer that question, I need to give you a little bit of a backstory. When I first began communicating with animals, like I mentioned, I had absolutely no idea into what this was or if it was even possible. My mom believed in me. However, I had to practice and practice in order for me to do it more. But as I was practicing, I came across the moral dilemma of whether talking to animals who are alive and those that have passed away is actually allowed in Islam or not. And so I went on my quest and asked a couple of sheikhs as well, a couple of Maulanas, but they were hearing this for the first time, and many of them were of the impression that this had to do with the world of the jinn. And that scared me because to me, I wasn't using any jinns. Obviously, communicating is through telepathy. It is through the realms of energy. And so I thought, you know what, who better than to ask, I should just ask Ayatollah Sistani because he's the marja of the time and he will know best what this is all about. In the beginning, when I sent him a message and when I spoke to him, I was a little bit afraid because I wasn't sure how to fully explain myself. I knew he would understand, but I didn't know how to explain myself. But I wrote in and I sent him the question, and it was so quick. He replied back saying that, you know what, speaking to animals who are alive and those that have passed away is allowed, and in fact, we wish you success in your endeavors. Once I received that validation from him, I said, you know what, alhamdulillah, I'm fine, and now I know that no matter what anyone says, this is something that is fully allowed and that is halal in Islam. And that was the thing, because if it was
seal of approval from Sistani. Yeah.
Yes, alhamdulillah. Because if it was something that was not allowed, I would have been the first one to drop it. I would not want to risk my afterlife for something in this world. So alhamdulillah.
Okay, so any difficult, any case that you felt you were scared and you were reluctant or threatened, anything like that ever happened during communication? Were you frightened of something, or the animal, or his thoughts and whatever?
So to be very honest, in the beginning, when I first started, it was extremely difficult for me because I wasn't very sure how to remove the energy that I got from the animal. So like I mentioned before, speaking to animals requires energy, my own personal energy as well as the energy of the animal. And the communication also happens through the realms of energy where we send and transmit information from the animal. And I remember I was working with a very, very sick dog in India. So the owner comes up to me and tells me that I have a dog who's very sick. I need you to help him. And I say, okay, sure, no worries. This was happening through a distance. All I had was the photograph of the dog. And I remember connecting with the dog. Instantly, I had a massive headache. And the headache went from the top of my head all the way to my neck. And the moment that happened, I felt sick. I started getting a fever, and it turned out that the dog was suffering from seizures. He told me that he was suffering from also liver failure and also cancer at the same time. And so all of that energy got bundled up into my own body, and I was not sure how to release it. I had no idea because I had no training whatsoever. And those were one of the more difficult cases where I was in bed for a week after. But then I researched more into it and how to remove the energy and how to take care of myself, how to create shields and protect myself so that I no longer face the same dilemma when working with other animals in the future with more severe, cases than I am right now. And alhamdulillah, now it is much, much better. So through Allah's guidance and Allah's help, now I work with animals all over the world, and alhamdulillah, there has been no problem whatsoever.
And so far, everyone, your clients are satisfied with your treatment, your communication. And do they find any change in their pets after your communication and healing them?
Yes, to be very honest, alhamdulillah, they do. So let me give you an example. Just recently, I had a session with a cat for a woman who was in Bahrain. And she told me that my cat is constantly getting fits of seizures, and we don't understand what's happening because it's only been 2 weeks. He was completely fine for 10 years, and now for 2 weeks he's getting seizures constantly, and we have no idea what's happening. We took him to the vet as well, but the vets are saying all his brain scans are clear, so we don't know what's going on. So please speak to him. So I say, okay, I communicate with the cat, and I find out from the cat that animals in general are emotionally complex. So they have all the emotions we label as human. And what he does, what he was doing is that he was mirroring his humans' issues and problems in order to help her heal. And he told me straight away that my owner, my mom, is constantly fighting with her husband, which means that there's a lot of raised voices in the house, which is causing me anxiety and stress. And in order for me to help her heal, because she's always tired and depressed after the fight that she has with her husband, I start getting seizures in order to release it. And so the moment she fixed her relationship with her husband, the cat stopped getting seizures. So the cat was completely cured, alhamdulillah.
So obviously, I mean, like humans, even animals have got souls and they can be hurt. Obviously, it's something really, okay. Exactly. You just mentioned that you are a Reiki healer for animals. Now, what is the difference between healing animals and humans? You can only heal animals and not humans, or humans can only heal humans and not animals?
Okay, so when it comes to healing in general, I am a conduit of healing for the animals, where healing energy will flow through me in order to help the animals. However, I wouldn't completely say and label myself as a Reiki healer, because for me, healing doesn't come from the symbols of Reiki energy that is utilized usually in Reiki healing. And this happened to me one time, where I will tell you a very personal story that I've never shared. But I remember I was learning Reiki healing, and this was after I found out I could heal naturally, alhamdulillah, through the horses. But I had to learn Reiki healing because not many people understood what healing was. And so as I was studying it, I remember I came across the chapter where it talked about Reiki symbols. And I was talking to one of the birds outside my balcony window, and he told me, you know what, you are very silly for learning the symbols of Reiki energy when you have God and you have the 14 Masumins. How can you use the symbols when they are more powerful? And this is a story I shared, but I thought it was important and imperative for me.
So amazing.
Alhamdulillah. And so from then on, Thank you. And so from then on, I never used Reiki healing. Reiki healing was a term that was recognized by people in society in general, but healing for me comes through God and God's energy and God's light. So Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
But you're right, I only work with animals. I don't work with humans. I'm pretty sure I could heal humans if I wanted to, but Alhamdulillah, for now, I'm sticking with animals. Humans are a little bit...
You're quite with the animals, yeah. You're happy in the animal world.
Of course.
Now, another thing I was going to ask you is, but you have already answered the question that people are asking too, does it involve jinns? Obviously, if you speak to somebody, they say, I mean, a lay person who wouldn't know that would say,
yeah,
it's jinn who is giving her the messages and, she's reading animals' mind or soul or whatever. Is it true or not? Is that the case?
So to be very honest, in my journey with animal communication and talking to so many people in general, I've realized that most people refuse to accept what they do not understand. And they find that their own limitations are the proper measure of limitations. And we all need to realize that not everything is limited to our 5 physical senses. There is so much more than the scope of physical perception. And first and foremost, we are all connected and we are all a body of energy. And it is through that realm of energy that we communicate and we send and transmit information to animals. And I don't know, but when I see how science puts it as well, they're always forcing and coercing people to believe and analyze things that are physical or that can be seen. Whereas things like this, which is in regards to telepathy, are often dismissed as illusory tricks or as using the jinn, when in fact that is not true at all. It is just using energy. So it's like, for example, when we were little and we would get hurt, and our mom would kiss that point where the pain was, and suddenly the pain would go away. That is just a method of Reiki healing. Or for example, the surahs that our mother would recite on our stomach when we would be hurting, and it would heal us. Or for example, removing the najar from our body, black energy through surahs. That all forms of healing. But that would all have been dismissed by science because it's not something tangible that you can see, that you can touch, that you can analyze.
To be honest, we are all surrounded by negative and positive energy, and there need to be a balance in it. We have the radioactive waves on the in this world, and it's so obviously so now again, telepathy and energy cleaning. What is the difference in cleaning and negative energy into positive energy, and reading the mind of the animals?
Okay, so those are 2 entirely different things. Telepathy is when you're connecting to a person or an animal, mind to mind and heart to heart, and you are decoding the messages or images or emotions you are receiving from that animal, from that entity, and you are trying to decipher the codes behind it so that you can fully transmit a message, and you can decode that message for them so that you can translate that message from the animal to another human. When it comes to cleaning energy involves having negative energy in the house or in that specific space, and then using energy in order to clean that space out so that that negative energy that was once present is now no longer there anymore. But that is not what I do. So I don't do space clearing. For me, it's just healing the animal in general. So, and talking to them as well.
Okay. Another question has just come. What is the difference between you and clairvoyance? Do you read minds?
Okay, so reading minds is not exactly what I do. It is a part of it, which means that it can be expanded on, which means when I connect with an animal, I'm having a conversation with them like I'm having with you. So I can ask them questions, and I I can get their opinions on things. Animals, so humans tell me, for example, they ask me questions like, okay, I'm having issues, for example, with my child. Should I medicate him because he has ADHD or not? You know, or for example, my dog is facing an issue. I don't know what's happening with him. Can you find out? Or my horse has suddenly fractured his shoulder, but I have no idea what's happening. Can you find out why he fractured his shoulder? So clairvoyance, I think you souls, to be honest, I'm not very sure. I have no idea what clairvoyants do in the realms of psychic energy when it comes to humans, because I deal with animals where it's more like a therapy session, more of a communication, just like how you and I are having right now.
Okay. Can you communicate with pets that have passed away?
Yes.
And why we want to communicate with them?
So yes, I can communicate with pets that have passed away. That is one of the questions I also asked Aga Sistani, which I got clearance on. So alhamdulillah for that. Yes, I do speak to animals that have passed away. In fact, to be very honest, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to communicate with someone whom you love so much. In my experience, humans love their pets to the point where they love them even more than their own children. Imagine just now if you had a situation where your loved one has passed away, you would give anything to speak to them one more time, to be in their presence, to feel their energy, to do anything that involves them. And so this is the chance I offer people, I offer humans, in order to get that closure with their pets, because sometimes the choices they have made at the end, whereas when they put them down, or for example when the pet has passed away due to an accident, they cannot get over that grief, and that guilt kills them. And so when speaking to their pet, they get that closure because the animal will always give you verifications first in order for you to realize and understand that this is really your animal that is talking. Otherwise, I could just be saying anything and you will not believe me. The only reason that you will believe me is because you will first ask verification questions that only you and your animal know, that I will never know because I've never met you in my entire life. And so I could have never possibly known the things the animal will mention to you. And that's how you are sure that this is the animal that is speaking to you.
That's something very interesting. I mean, because when it comes to humans and when your loved ones have passed away and you want to be connected with them, somebody told me that please don't call them because they have to go through certain stages to come and meet you, and it's quite painful for them. So please don't bother because it's really, really traumatic for them to come to the level where they're allowed to connect with you. It's quite painful journey for them, right? But it's not the case with the animals, is it?
So when it comes to humans as well, and when it comes to animals, I will explain you two different things, and this is going to be quite a lengthy answer, so please bear with me. When it comes to humans in general, we have always read that in the afterlife, when a human passes away and when they're on a certain level, they are allowed visitation rights. And they are happy when they visit their family members. But you have to be at a certain level in order to achieve that. Now, in my experience talking to animals in general, animals, they believe pretty much the same things about the afterlife. So they believe the afterlife is a much better place, the world is a temporary place. But when it comes to you communicating with animals, they always tell me about how easy it is and how effortless it is and how they're always around you, because the one thing that hurts them in terms of pain is when their human is hurting. When their human is so sad and is grieving, that hurts them, physically hurts them. But when they're in that realm, there is no pain involved. And they love you so much. They always want to be around you, guiding you, talking to you. They always want to be next to you. And in fact, many animal lovers have actually told me, I have felt my animal's presence. Like I've felt him brush against my leg. I've heard him purring. I've heard him running around, the scratch of his paws or the nuzzle of his nose from a horse. So I've had all these experiences as well with animals and their humans. So I understand
Mm-hmm.
completely, but to me, none of them have ever mentioned any pain whatsoever.
That's quite amazing. I mean, when it comes to humans, it's a totally different version. Um, okay. One question is coming, which is, do you use again? It's the most almost probably similar. Do you use angels and guides when you heal animals?
The guide I use is God. I don't use any other guide. And like I mentioned earlier, after that bird told me that you are silly for actually using angels and Reiki symbols and anything unrelated to the healing itself without using God and the 14 Masumin, since then I
Okay.
haven't used anything. But that was when I first initially started healing. I hadn't even
Mm-hmm.
delved into it very deeply as yet. This was maybe the first week of me learning how to heal properly to get
Okay.
certification in order for people to fully understand what it was about. Because to be honest,
Okay.
when you tell somebody you can heal and you suddenly
Mm.
learned how to heal and it's been downloaded into your psyche, not many people will understand what that means. But Reiki healing, the term, angelic healing, many people understand that, healing with crystals. But to be honest, I only use God and the 14 Masumins when it comes to healing. And to me, that is the most powerful. And I have seen wonders, alhamdulillah, with healing in
Really,
that manner. Yeah,
really.
it's extremely powerful. Like, I'll give you an example. I remember
Yeah.
one day I was in Qum, I was in Iran, and I had a client come
Mm.
up to me and she wrote into me and she said, my cat is going through leukemia. He's in the end stages of leukemia, and I don't know what to do because my cat has been lying down and hasn't been able to eat or drink for 3 days. And he's been
Mm.
really, really sick, he's not moving. And so please, please help me. Just please heal my cat. So I said, okay.
Mm.
I sent him healing energy, and she writes to me and she says, Fatema, I don't know what to tell you, but my cat who has cancer is suddenly jumping around and is more active than my cats who are okay. Both my cats.
Mm.
Yeah, and
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 that was a
I was
distant healing? That was a distant healing?
that was a distant healing, and at that time I was in the shrine. I was in the Rosa of Bibi Masuma Ikum alayhi salam. And that's where
Okay.
I did the healing. And I asked her as well to please help me facilitate this healing so that this cat gets better. This cat feels better because every animal you come across, their pain becomes your pain because you can feel every emotion that the animal transmits to
Mm.
you. And that is how we communicate with them as well and how we heal them. You have to be able to
Mm.
feel their pain in order to help relieve them of it. And so I
Mm.
asked her to help me, and Alhamdulillah, she was so surprised and so happy with the result that she continued healing him. And Alhamdulillah, now the cat is completely okay.
So when you were giving when you're healing that cat, what was coming in your mind? What was she telling you?
The cat at
Is
that
there
time
something
was
that they can tell about their? Is there something that they talk about, complain about their masters? Anything that bothers them?
many of them do. Many of them
Uh,
do, which is why I also always have to ask for consent from the owners before I do a
yeah.
communication session because it's
Okay.
highly unethical in just to communicate
Mm.
with any animal because there's a lot of this sort of information that can come up that is extremely personal to the human and to the animal. And in fact, many
Okay.
of them just turn around and tell the animal, "You're complaining too much about me. I think you need to keep quiet now because you're releasing all our secrets." And
Okay.
it's nothing harmful about
Okay.
it. Alhamdulillah.
I've got questions coming up again. Can anyone train to heal pets? And
Healing pets.
what is required to be a pet healer?
When it comes to healing pets, I believe everyone has the ability to heal animals. However, I
Everyone
don't
has the
personally.
ability. Really?
Everyone has the ability to heal. humans as well as animals. However, I personally don't teach healing. I only teach communication. Healing, I don't know how to teach. It is not something I can teach.
Okay.
It is just
Okay. The
it is just practice.
communication. How to train as a communicator?
So for communication, I believe everyone is intuitive. In fact, this reminds me of a quote that I absolutely love from Albert Einstein, where he says the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, whereas the rational mind is a faithful servant. And in this society, we have honored the servant and we have forgotten the gift. Intuition, in general, is something that is to be revered. It is something that everyone has, as mothers, as pet lovers, as humans, everyone has it. All I do is I teach you how to harness that muscle, how to harness that gift, and then communicate with animals through that realm of energy and intuition. And once you practice to do it, I believe every single person can do it. In fact, I also have courses where I teach you how to communicate with animals. And all people who have pets in general communicate through intuition anyways. And so when they go through the course, they realize, oh, I was doing this already, maybe on a smaller level, but now I can enhance my skills and I can communicate even more effectively. It's similar to how when you have a pet, you just know that your pet is hungry or in pain, or maybe they've lost a favorite toy of theirs. They communicate with their pet through local vernacular whilst using normal linguistics and social cues and nuances, but they speak in that form. And the animal understands them. They speak, but they don't know that they're communicating. And through the course, they realize they are communicating. And many of my students, alhamdulillah, have begun communicating with animals as well. And they just don't know that they're utilizing it.
Okay. It's there. Then people can contact you for this course. Yeah.
Yes, of
You're
course.
based in Dubai. You're based in
Yes.
Dubai, so and you give
Yes.
it online course probably. There's online
Yes,
course.
it's an
Yeah. Okay.
it's an online
Okay.
course, and it's all on my website. And it's
Okay.
extremely easy. Sure.
Another question just come in. What advice would you give pet owners in general to cultivate calm and happy pets?
This is a question I love because I keep telling everyone I meet to speak to their pets. Now, when I say communicate, I don't mean communicate telepathically or anything of that sort. You don't need to make it complex. Just speak to them the way you normally are speaking to them, the way you'd speak to a human being. You tell them where you're going, what you're doing, just so that they feel included. Think about it like this. If you love your child, you would not leave the house without telling them where you're going or when you're going to be coming back, right? So similarly, you would want to talk to your pet and tell them, okay, I'm leaving for this many hours, I'm coming back, or when you're going on a trip, what's going to happen, or when you're going to the vets with them, exactly what's going to happen, what the procedures are that it entails, in order to make them feel comfortable. And by you speaking to them, more than what you are speaking by words, it is the images and the emotions that the animal looks at from your mind and understands it even more. And as long as you are speaking to them in that manner, they will understand, and there's no need for them to be anxious or upset or depressed when you leave. There's no separation anxiety involved anymore, because now you've covered all those bases just by speaking to them. Think of it like therapy. Basically, it's just that.
I mean, it's just like talking to your friends or to your friends or your relatives, your family. It's just like that, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly.
I think you know that Christmas has just gone, and on Christmas normally in Western world people give pets, small pets as a gift, Christmas gift, and after a few weeks or months, you know, poor pets are abandoned, mostly poodle, small baby dogs, and you know, cute little dogs, and then they tend to, maybe they're not tuned to have pets. Some people don't have any inclination, idea of pets, and after a few months they just abandon them, just leave them out somewhere in the wilderness, and you know, then the animal agencies, they come and they take them. But you can make out from their eyes how sad that animal was looking. I felt so, I can't tell you honestly. It was, but
Okay.
did you ever have had any chance of speaking to an abandoned animal, whether be horse or camel or elephant, or have you ever had a chance speaking to a lion or a tiger?
Yes, to be very honest, all the time. This happens to me
Hmm.
every single day, in fact. And I truly believe that every animal, no matter what they are, a snake, a horse, a cockroach, anything, they all deserve homes. They all deserve people to love them, take care of them. But not all humans deserve to have animals in their lives because they don't know
No,
how to
no,
take care
no.
of them. But this happened to me one time where a handler, he contacted me from Africa, South Africa, and he told me that I have an issue with one of my horses. I've just bought the horse from a zoo, and suddenly what has happened with this horse is that now she's just lying down in the corner of the stable. She's lost 5 kilos in a week. She's not eating anymore, and she's just refusing to eat. When she came in, she ate one carrot, and after that she's completely stopped
Oh,
eating, and it's been 2 weeks now. And
oh,
he asked me, what do I do with her? What do I do with her? I spoke to her, and she told me that I don't know what to tell you. I'm extremely depressed. And I asked her why she was depressed. She said, because where I was in the zoo, I was severely abused by only one person. So I was whipped into submission, which means that every
oh,
time I would do what the man wanted me to do, he would whip me, he would hurt me, he would curse at me. And so that all really affected my psyche, my emotions. And now I'm just lying in a corner because I just want to wither away and die. I don't want to live life anymore. I just want to end life
oh,
so that I'm no longer part of this. So I explained to her that her new owner was extremely loving and would never ever give up on her, because it was true. I had background information on the new owner, and I would only tell the animal something that I knew would be true 100%. And so she believed me, and she told me about many of her dental issues that she had. And I promised her that the owner would help her, would bring
oh,
relief to her. And so he hired a vet that flew in order to help her. And you will not believe it. She completely changed. The next day, she started eating, and she started becoming more energetic. She started gaining weight. And so you do come across cases like this where the animal is abused, depressed. But on another note, I do work with people who take care of abandoned animals all the time. I work with shelters as well. And I make a point to
yeah.
do that because that's my way to give back to the animal world, to give back to the voices that will always remain unheard, because no one would actually take the time to listen to them. And so this is what I do as well, whenever I have the time, which I make a point to do pretty much every month, alhamdulillah.
Fatma, I mean, as coming to the animals, there are males and females like bear or tigers or horses.
Hmm.
When you're communicating, do this have a different voice, or I mean, how is it? Something just come up in my
Okay.
mind. Male, females, how do they behave and communicate with you?
So it's not
Whether,
it's not mainly male or females. In the beginning, I always
uh,
thought that a lion is supposed to be very scary, is supposed to be
yes,
very proud, whereas a cat is
yes,
supposed to be more timid. But
yeah,
you will not believe it, from the goats, the cows, the sheep, the lions that I've spoken to. Some are
uh,
philosophers, some extremely jealous. And I had this one
really,
incident where I was speaking to a lioness who was in captivity. And
uh,
she was telling me about how her child was stolen from her. And
oh,
she was just so scared, and she was so upset that her child was taken away from under the net, and she was hurting so much. And she said, it was my purpose in life to be a mother, and that was ripped away from me. And I really hope one
oh,
day I do get a chance to become a mother. But fast forward 2 years later, she alhamdulillah now has 3 beautiful lion cubs. But when it comes to females, they are a lot more motherly and maternal. But some males
uh,
can have feminine energy to them, which means they are a lot more sensitive, they are more emotional, they are protectors as well, they are highly attached to their owners. And lions as well. I remember this one lion telling me that I'm so annoyed at my caretaker because he was walking with me. We had taken a walk out into the wilderness, and there was another lioness that walked by, and his attention was diverted to her instead of me. How could he do that? He has to have his full entire
emotions like human beings, isn't it? Same emotions like humans.
Exactly. Every emotion that we label complex, when it comes to humans, animals have as well. I mean, you'll be amazed at how intelligent they are and how much they understand. He talked about the owner, pointed every single thing about his life, which was amazing. I'm constantly astounded every time I speak to them, even though I'm doing this every day. Still amazed.
All the secrets coming out, all the secrets coming out via their pets.
Exactly. You have to be very careful.
You have to. Anyway, was there any occasion that the pets disclosed something, and you related it to the masters, to tell them that this is something, any secret, and that he thought perhaps is a secret. Now it's no more a secret. The pet has told you. And did you ever mention that to anyone?
Okay, so when it comes to communications, firstly, I'm not allowed to mention a communication that is, for example, somebody whom you know, somebody whom you're aware of. I'm not allowed to mention their session with you. So unless it is somebody whom you're not aware of, it's like, for example, ghibat. It's like backbiting when it comes to the animal form. So you're very, very careful. But when it comes to something that happened, yes, actually, I was speaking to a pink-breasted gala, and he was a parrot, and he was a parrot, a pink parrot. And he's such a sweet soul. What happened with him was his owner contacted me here in Dubai, and she told me that I have the most amazing relationship with my parrot. However, it's since February. I don't know what has happened with him. He suddenly wants to attack me every single time he sees me. And this is not normal for him, and I don't know what to do. And she was crying as she was talking to me. She said, please come home and just fix the problem. So I said, okay. I go over to her house, and the parrot comes to me with no issues, and he was snuggling up with me. And so I knew that this parrot was very, very loving, and he had a very affectionate character towards him. However, he proceeds to tell me that the reason I'm so annoyed with her is because she went out to a different country. She traveled, and when she traveled, she saw a guy that she wanted to go and have dinner with. How could she do that? I am the only soulmate in her life, and she went and found another person she liked, had dinner with, and has betrayed me. And I need her to apologize. You will not believe it. She apologized, was crying, and it's very weird until now when I see people cry in that manner. But she was crying. She apologized to the parrot so many times, and within 2 weeks she messages me and she tells me, see, look at my parrot the way he is now. He has understood my part of the story. I've understood his side of the story, and for him I will always be first, and for me he will always be first for me as well. And then straight away, everything became okay again. And alhamdulillah, the relationship became even more stronger.
So what about the guy she was going out for dinner? What happened to him?
I don't think she met him again.
I mean, the animals can be so possessive. I can't believe that.
They can. They're extremely possessive. You won't believe it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they also guide you on what is good and what is bad. Especially, there are many times I'll speak to somebody and they will tell me there was a curly-haired that came home and she looked like this, she wore this. I don't like her. I don't like her energy at all. She's not good for you. She's extremely jealous of you. Please don't associate with her anymore. So, and
Really?
then they
Oh,
and I speak to the owner, and the owner verifies exactly who this person is. And straight away they say, okay, I promise I'll never speak to this person again because my dog doesn't like her or my cat doesn't like her. And because animals, they judge you based on your true intentions and your character as well. They see the essence of your soul. They're not looking at what you're just projecting out, because what's on your face is very different from what is in your heart. And
what
animals
is in
can
your
see the
heart?
true essence of you. And so
Yes,
they are an
yes.
excellent judge of character, and they can judge when you are sincere and when you're insincere as well.
Wow. Talking of the dogs, Fatma, question
Sure.
is, as dogs are considered haram in Islam,
Mhm.
what is your view about it from a dog's point of view?
They are considered najis, yes, and it is
Yeah,
haram to have them in the house, except if you have them as guard dogs or anything like that. However, I
yeah,
did ask Aga Sistani this question as well because I was interacting with a lot of dogs, and it is inevitable that they will come near you, they will lick you or sniff you. And so I did have
yeah,
that
yeah.
najis factor that I was concerned about. However, he told me that as long as you purify yourself, either through washing your hand or through ghusl at the end of the day, which I always do. So every time I speak to, I'm physically in the presence of a dog who has licked me or sniffed me, or regardless whether they have or haven't, I go home and I make sure I do my ghusl so that I'm clean again. So
Okay.
that is how I
So,
circumvent that problem.
but what happens when the dog is in your own room and I mean he's there and sometimes on your bed, jumping, happy, and sleeping on the floor? What happens then?
So,
It's
so
difficult.
when you're right. It is true, which is why I don't have sessions at home. I usually go to the client's place. But to be honest, many of my clients, they know that it is najis, but they still say that it is okay because for me, I love my animal, and I don't think, for example, God will have a problem with it because I love him so much. And he has a lot of qualities of a mu'min. And but then I mean, that is always between you and God. That is your journey in life. That is for you to decipher. So really
Absolutely.
depends from person to person. There's no one
Hmm.
answer fits all, and there's nothing I mean, there's no judgment from my side at all, whether you have a dog in your house or not. That is up to you completely.
Hmm.
For me, my role is order to help you understand your
Hmm.
pet, in order to help you heal them, in order to make
Hmm.
sure that your bond with them is strengthened, and to give them a voice.
Hmm.
And not just with dogs, but each and every single animal.
Any of the tiniest of the tiny creature that you have communicated with? Cockroach, yes, you
uh,
said cockroach.
Flies
Any,
and
even some people,
cockroaches, ants.
ants. You have?
Yeah, so every single animal, yeah.
Oh, well, give us, share with us. I mean, they're hardly still. They are moving all the time, doing their hard work for their queen, isn't it? So,
You're right, you're right, they are. They are. I've spoken to mice as well. They each have their own stories to tell, really. Some of them can be very simple, like the ant just
hmm,
said, I really don't want to die. I want to be helped because he was basically in a small area where for an ant, because it's very tiny, they see everything as a huge obstacle in front of them.
hmm,
And so he just wanted to
hmm,
be moved, and so that's when he spoke to me. But I wouldn't connect with every single ant I saw. That would be extremely
no,
tiring. That I don't do
sure.
unless they initiate a conversation with me, a connection with me, or if it's a human's animal who have asked for consent previously, that's when I communicate with them.
Okay. So that is the tiniest, obviously. What else can be
That's
tinier
it.
than the ant?
Uh,
What about the bees or or pigeons. Pigeons are supposed to be, there are a lot of pigeons in on Imam Raza's Roza, as you know. And there is also Kas, Shiraz, Kabutar. Pigeons have got this. Is it true that it's to have a sawab? It's a sawab to have the pigeons in the house?
Yes, it is allowed to have the pigeons and feed them as well, because they take out a lot of your misfortune and bala from the house as well. And so it is a lot of
Really?
sawab in order to do that, yeah. And in fact, there was one situation where I'd like to share with you, where I have an aunt, and when she was living in Dubai, she had 7 pigeons outside in her
So,
balcony, and she saw seven purely white pigeons, and she used to feed them constantly for years. And what happened was, one day her husband came home and told her that, you know what, I was going to be in an extremely bad accident, and I don't know how, but I got saved, alhamdulillah. And as
okay.
she was talking to him, she went out to feed the pigeons, and she found all 7 of them had dropped down dead. All of them had died. So all of them took that misfortune from the uncle, from her husband, who had passed away. He was about to get into that accident, and they all passed away in order to make sure that he stayed alive. And another example I had was an aunt who came over, and she was about to do a surgery, a very risky and crucial spine surgery that could be either a life or death situation. And as she was doing the surgery at home, I found 2 pigeons dead in my balcony. And we feed pigeons regularly, and there are around 40 pigeons that come, pigeons, crows, parrots, they all come over. But 2 of them had just died mysteriously, and they were not previously sick at all, because we see the sick ones as well. But these 2 were healthy and had just passed away, sort of like a sadaqah for her.
That's right.
And alhamdulillah,
Yes.
the surgery was successful. So pigeons, yes, are extremely highly recommended to have, even in Islam as well.
So instead of giving sadaqah to others, if you can give sadaqah to the pigeons every day when you go out, and you can give some food, whatever, seeds or whatever. Yeah, I have
Of
I have
course.
a special stand in my back garden, and all
Mm-hmm.
my food is always going to the birds over there. I never
Oh,
throw my
bless you.
food away in the bathroom. Never,
Yeah.
never. Even if it's a small piece of meat, I would wash and make small, shred it small pieces, and then put them. And my pigeons, you should see, they are so big and healthy and fat.
Yeah.
They can hardly eat now. My pet, my little
They're
cat, he's
yeah.
scared of them actually.
Oh,
They're so confident that we can fight you. Anyway, we are towards the end of the program, Fatma, and only one question more come. Is it
sure.
true your pets, cats and dogs, also give you dua for providing for them?
Yes, of course they do, because you love them the most and you're taking care of them, and so they pray for you and they ask for your forgiveness as well constantly. They're always asking God for your forgiveness, and they are
Ah,
thanking them because they are also from Allah. And so they are praying to God for you and your well-being, and for you to get barakah and for you to get blessings in your life. It's
that's
exactly
true.
like your children would pray for their parents, for their long life,
Yeah.
for their forgiveness. And so if you do good, you'll always get good back. So
Is it
yes.
true that you should not hurt a cat? You should not, physically, you should not, because even Prophet Muhammad had a cat, and he
Mhm.
always said, and this is the only, perhaps, the pet that is not najis, isn't it? Cat.
Um, no, there are many animals that are not najis. So it could be goats, cows, horses, there are chickens, snakes.
Yeah.
They're all not najis.
Snakes
They may be
also.
haram to consume. They may be haram to consume, but they're not najis.
Okay, all right. So,
But
is it true if you hurt a cat, she can give you
yeah.
yeah,
So, to be
yeah?
honest, I don't think you should be hurting any animal. All animals are sacred beings, and they are souls, and they are creations of God. And so, therefore,
Hmm.
they should not be harmed in any way whatsoever. even if it is a bad word being sent to them. They take it very seriously and they take it to heart as well. And their whole behavior can be changed when you speak to them in such a manner. Imagine if you're speaking to them emotionally, how much it affects them. So imagine how it would be when you hurt them physically or physically abuse them in any way. They really do get affected. And so I don't think any animal should be hurt in any way, shape, or form whatsoever.
Fatma, towards the end, any message that you can give to the humans when it comes to their pets?
When
Any
it comes
golden
to their
words?
pets, just
Yeah.
love them, talk to them. And if you have so many tips on my Instagram handle, which is Unheard Miracles, if they can go through that and go through all the reels and videos and tips that I put up, a lot of people have told me how it's helped them and their pets and how they've helped them progress and deepen their relationship with their pets and how they can now communicate with their pets through the videos. So if they can do that, then their bond with them will deepen as well. And inshallah, they will be happier and their pets will be happier for it as well.
Great.
And in
Another
case
just quick
anyone's
question. Yeah.
Sure.
Go on. Go on.
No, I just said in case anyone has any questions, they can always reach out to me and I can always help them and their pets as well.
Okay. Now that last question just come. How do you do the distant healing? Do we need to provide you the photograph of the cat, or what is it? What is the manner for a distant healing?
So for distant healing, all I require is a photograph of the animal where they're alone so that no other energies are mixed with the animal. So if it's a human or another animal within it, and I just need their name. That's about it.
Okay.
And once you reach out to me and once we have a session, then I perform the healing for them. And after that, I give you a detailed report of where each and every single place that the animal is hurting or even itching after performing an intuitive medical scan for them. And then that is the report you can then give to your vets as well, so that in case anything has been missed by them, then the animal can then share exactly where they're hurting and they can find out more information about them as well.
Thank you so much, Fatma. It's been a very interesting and informative program with you. Like I had got more questions coming in, but we are running out of time. Thank you. And Nazreen, anyone who is interested to inquire, have any query regarding this program and my guest, her telephone number is with the studio. You can always speak to her.